Hey guys, it's Spacer Sims, and we are back with more Virche Evermore, continuing our salvation ending. So, we're gonna do our last one today. We're getting Eve's ending. Woo! So, obviously loaded up our save. We refuse. No! No, Hugo, I won't let you kill me just because you're in love with Eve. He's my boyfriend now, bitch. Then he's like, alright, fine, I guess. Oh, then he's all sad because we see his scars and he's like crying. Oh, our precious baby. Listen, I do think I like our labradoodle. Okay, he's not cyanide, but bird. What? You're being a pain in the ass today. I'm gonna take you. I'm up for you downstairs. You're chewing on my shirt. Like, it's a shirt from like a run my sister and I did, like a little walk thing that her friend made on her Cricut, but she did it so fast that like all the little letters have been peeling off. The one of them's gone, but some of the letters and the edges are like peeling up, so he's chewing on them, and it's like you can't chew on vinyl. Bad bird. Now he's like doing his bug making noise, the noise he makes when he sees bugs. But there's no bugs. He's just being a dick. He's a brat. He's being a bratty bird. Anyway, So that's it. You need to simmer down. I know. Were you talking? Trying to talk over me? That's rude. You talk. People would like it when you talk. Can they hear you? You can't talk when I talk. I don't know if you can hear him when he's squeaking like that. He only talks when I talk. And then he's like, "Meow, meow, 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 meow." Just makes like weird little grumbles. uh, all right. Okay. So now we know this is where we find the book. Find out about the Lycris and why it's there and all of that. At least this. And here's Cyan gonna turn me into a lab experiment. Listen, I'll forgive him, okay? Don't forgive Lucas for killing Cyan ever. Because, like, what the hell? I forgive Lucas for killing everybody else, though, because, like, he was brainwashed. I guess I shouldn't be mad that he killed Cyan, because, like, brainwashed. But, like, still, leave Cyan alone. God. You know? But I'll forgive Cyan for using me as a lab rat. Whatever. Sir, whatever you want to do to me, it's fine. Listen. Oh, look, Adolphe's got his head on his body this time. Thank God. That was kind of sad part about Cyan's route. But I got to be with Cyan, so, like, I'm not complaining too much. I'm not complaining at all. Let's be real. Adolphe, I do love you, but, like, Cyan. So. All right. There's a lot of skipping through this. I don't really have much to say. That's why I'm like, oh, okay, this is awkward pausing silence. They're fighting to get to me. Right, because one of Eve's bad endings was where we basically buried ourselves alive. And God, that was the worst. And his tragic end was we all just burned to death in the flower field. That's fun times. Good times. Turned him to ash. Well, he burned to death. Did we? I don't think we did. I think we stabbed ourselves. Huh. Oh no, that's true. Did Adolphe die here because of Lucas? We're like, look, Adolphe's got his head. Oh, he might not have made it. Actually, yeah. All right. Well, he's not really dead if you count Anko, right? So it is kind of sad that you don't really get any kind of ending with Anko. I guess they kind of figured that, like, well, you do because you get to be with Adolphe, and Anko is Adolphe, but it's like, but it's not the same person anymore, you know? So, like, and for a character that is You know what I mean? Like, there's other side characters, like you have Dahood, Capucine, whatever. He's Anko is not promoted as like a side character. He is a huge portion of this, and like, still, like, look at Dahood's input. Where you just think he's a fun little side character, and then he's like the huge mastermind behind everything. Okay, but like, he's not on the cover. He's not put there like, look, a love interest. You know what I mean? So like, I don't like it when they do things like that. They did that to me in Radiant Tale, where they put Ginia on the, cover, and it's like, no route for him though. Excuse me, you don't know. But that's basically what they did to Anko. So, eh, I feel like they could have done different endings. Like you get the tragic end, whatever, but maybe there is like an alternate ending that's not a salvation end, but it's also not tragic. It's just that we're like, you can fall in love with Anko. You know what I mean? Like in the Ankofe route, like it could have just added another another ending. Anyway, he was breathing heavily as he took his last step toward me. I mean, we're still in the fiery field. I could imagine him extending his hand to me one more time. But please stop. I instinctively shut my eyes as I knew very well that I needed to turn him away. I must not take his hand. If I was going to end up killing him, I should slap his hand away. I knew I should do that, but what I expected didn't happen. I heard the sound of explosions and something spreading. What lay ahead of my closed eyes? I slowly and cautiously opened my eyes. Oh, new CG. Are you giving me flowers in a field of burning flowers? Sir, this is the weirdest romantic moment ever. I I literally think this might be the weirdest romantic moment. Black petals bloomed magnificently amid the crimson flames. How are we getting out of this alive? This is gonna be another one like Lucas where we're like happy but dead together. Cause like I don't look at the way her skirt is swirling though, it's so pretty. The Lycris noirs that were hated by the people as the flowers of misfortune, despite the salvation they brought to the land. Please marry me. This is not the time for a proposal, sir. Why is Eve the weirdest person we've ever met? I mean, we've met some weird people. Not in this game, I just mean in general, but I feel like he might be the weirdest. For the first time, they didn't determine life. Instead, they were put into a bouquet to bring people together. Okay, in this pose, originally when I saw the CG, I was like, this is the weirdest time to propose. But I wasn't like I wasn't gonna assume, but yeah, no, okay. So really, it's weirder than just a weird romantic moment. It's okay. You're so stupid. Alright. This might be my favorite ending just for this. Because here's Eve, like, marry me in the midst of a fiery inferno. And she's like, you're an idiot. And yeah. Just, that, oh my god. Oh my god, why is it so funny? Mean words unfit for the situation came out. No, it's very much fit for the situation. Why, of all times, you do know that you're about to be killed by me, right? Hearing me mumble, Eve gave a confused smile. Oh, it's not like you give me a chance. Not like you give me a chance. Especially with how you keep running away from me, no matter how much I say I love you. So I figured I needed to do something like this to at least show you how serious I really am. Eve was really stupid. You can't argue with it. It's funnier because it's so true. He is an idiot, but he's so adorable, and this is so fucking funny. But beyond that, he was a very strong person. Oh my god. In his hand was a black bouquet made from the flowers that he picked nearby. No matter how many embers got onto them, they continued to bloom boldly. Also, he picked the flowers, so they let out toxins, and he's just like, what ups? Look at how endearing and sweet his little face is right now. If it Oh, it was as if the flowers had an unwavering will, just like the young man in front of me. But if I take them from you, I'm going to end up killing you. I won't die. You will! I won't die. I can bear anything that comes at me. I've survived all this time. Even that day 7 years ago. I ended up with just a burn on my face. I'm guessing I was loved by death, which is why I was born resistant to it. So don't you worry. He really is an idiot, but he's precious. You... I know I needed to slap the bouquet out of Eve's hand to save his life. That makes no sense. The real death doesn't work that way, you know? Well then, if for some reason I do die taking your hand, and then will you come after me? Did that on the tragic end, so. I came here with the intention of following you to Hades if I found you dead. I figured it'd be pretty neat to have our wedding there. Very appropriate for death. My god, he really is a fucking weirdo. Seeing me look at him in sheer disbelief, he waved the bouquet in front of me once again. No matter how much you hate me, even to the point of death, I will keep repeating these words. His final confession of love. He boldly made his confession as the flames and the toxins eroded his body. I love you, Spacey. No matter who you are, I'll always love you and the death that dwells inside you. So please, if you don't want your life, give it to me. I offer my very self to you for as long as I have left. I felt heat other than flames on my face. It's no use. No matter how far I ran away, even if I died, he would come for me. He would come with fearless resolve, even if it meant going to the depths of Hades. But that fearless resolve of his was... Eve, you're so mean. The joy I felt was unbearable. Ugh! Toxic tears rolled down my cheeks. I let them out as I cried with all my heart. Eve Noirs was really someone who was born to love death. Sorry. I'm sorry! I was sorry to everyone I had killed and everyone who died because of me. I can't die yet to atone for what I've done. I apologized for my selfishness. After all, a desire budded in me that I couldn't fight. A desire to live with him forever. I took a step forward. Love you. My confession. I couldn't run. I didn't want to anymore. He was going to offer his life to me. Love you, Eve. I would offer my life to him in return. Love you so much, Eve. I want you, my beloved, to take my cursed life. My new reason to live. I could live with despair if I could be with him a few seconds longer. That was my one and only desire now. Oh. I took his bouquet of Lycris Noirs and bent down toward him. Oh. Turning into a kiss, CG. We can't see it fully yet. I gently caressed Eve's burn scars and gave him a kiss. There it is. That is beautiful, despite the tragedy around us. Our lips joined with the sweet taste of blood. You finally answered me. Sorry I kept you waiting. Will you forgive me? Of course. I didn't care if I burned to death. Thank you. Even after death, I will love you forever, my princess of the Lycris Noirs. So will I, my guardian of the Lycris Noirs. Even I, demon that took away their salvation and death, brought misfortune to others. The flames of punishment devoured us whole. Seems a weird way to end this. That was really his... Wait, what? That's his salvation end? I know there's stuff after. But, like, everybody else had kind of, like, longer endings and Eve was, like, 5 fucking minutes? I mean, like, 15. But, like, not even... Like, everyone else's took an hour. Is the after... Like, what? I feel... Okay, let's just see what happens here. Then I'll be the next guardian. Oh. I love the Lycris Noirs, so you can rest all you want, Grandpa. I'll make sure I love every one of them as much as you and Dad combined. Eve. Oh, but if I can become a really good guardian, then can I ask the girl I love to marry me with the Lycris flowers, just like Death in the story? I think it's best you do not do that. If you pick the flowers, you'll die. And even if you did make a bouquet out of them, most girls will be too afraid to come near it. The only girl who would be happy to accept it is the goddess of death herself. And I'm gonna find the goddess of death and marry her. Even baby Eve is an idiot. I'm gonna propose the best way with the Lycris noirs in the field of flames while we die. See? That's a good plan, right, Grandpa? Grandpa's like, God, this kid's an idiot. Far away, sound of iron being struck could be heard. Much of the Institute had been destroyed, so work was quickly underway to fix the facility, but the head of the Institute, Cyan Brofes, was sitting down on a bench in Coen. The cool wind coming from the ocean stung the wound where his arm once was. Well, you're a lot more handsome now. Sarcasm. Of course, you deserve every bit of it. You harmed my dear children and even took one of them away from me. I hate you to the point that I would kill you again and again if I could, but I'm in debt to you, and I have a curse to resolve. In addition, I'm also the very person who saw those children to be fit to be part of your experiments. So as long as you don't speak ill of his death, I'll keep you alive, at least for now. I see. Cyan looked up to the sky and responded nonchalantly. You seem to have lost your fire. Are you really, Cyan? Having a novice point out so many of my flaws gives me more than enough to think about. Macy said that her body could be used for experiments and testing after she died, but her powers wouldn't manifest in death, meaning there was little to be excited for. I'm gonna let Dahood take my position so that I can move away from the front lines. I never expected to see the day you would turn your back on your research. Perhaps the country will fall to ruin tomorrow. Say what you want. I'm busy right now trying to learn emotions and senses as a human being. I do plan on replaying Karun one day, but I don't have the time. Who knows how long those honeymooners will live? Salome's face clouded with sorrow, knowing their future would be cut short when... Ah, I assume you're the former god that fell to earth. I kind of forget Cyan learning emotions, and did that in his route, but I don't remember him doing it here. But anyway, it makes it sound like we're not dead, but like we are, but not. Did they bring us back? But then bringing me back as a reliver, and now I don't have my powers or something. Because it's like those honeymooner, like you know what I mean. And she said you took one for me, and then she said speak up ill of his death, and that makes me think of Adolphe because I thought, if I remember correctly, which maybe I'm just fake remembering, but like Eve screaming through the door was because Adolphe died then. You know what I mean? So, not really sure what's happening. Don't remember. But anyway. Out of nowhere, a mysterious and ethereal man appeared in front of them. Who are you? They stared at the man with suspicion. My name is Anko, the Watchman of Death, who disclosed the truth of the curse to the Guardian. The man who had been mistaken for Death gave an eerie smile. I'm troubled now that my beloved partner has terminated our contract. Therefore, I'm looking for a new contractor. Cyan Brofes, would you like to enter into a contract with me? What, so like I died or just left you behind, so now you're gonna go after my other boyfriend? Rude. The commotion you've caused has given me sufficient time to make my own preparations. You can use it to face the curse upon this land without resorting to underhanded means. This is probably what you should have started with, but then the whole game would be different. Whether she or her lover dies first, or whether you defeat the curse first, I will continue to watch your lifelong struggle as a human. Sorry, bird. I talk with my hands. So I was talking with my hand, I smacked his tail, and he's like, finally simmered down sleeping under my chin. Sorry, buddy. The Watchman of Death narrowed his eyes as he remembered the words he exchanged with his former friend. From among those words, a certain title flashed within his mind. Noble Death, my dear friend. Henceforth the bloodline of the Drifter will take on the name of this flower, the Noirs, as proof of our pact. My only concern is that the one you hold dear may be at risk of danger, but according to your prediction, if the Brophy's descendant born as a god treads the wrong path, my descendant, who will love the Lycorises, will face that god and thwart him. My descendant will surely become a symbol of salvation that will move this land. That one will become Virche. Yes, you've not heard of the word. After all, it is one that I coined from the language of another land. He went on to say that he named it after the boat he was on before he drifted to this land. I combined two words into one, which I share with the Brophy's family. The word virtuel, meaning virtual. The other word was arch, meaning ark. As someone who drifted here on an ark, my descendant will bring hope to this land thriving on virtual salvation. They should build a lasting bond with the human... Oh, should they build a lasting bond with the human god? Sorry. And bring salvation to this country. I ask that you give this honorable title of Virche to the two heroes, should you meet them one day. The National Research Institute was attacked by commoners from Coen. Many were severely injured, with just as many deaths. The institute was partially destroyed, and a portion of the backup data was lost. Eve and Spacey were wanted by the Arpachel royal family, but they earned Cyan's wrath for using his name and forever lost their right to become relivers. The royal family was thrown into chaos, which distracted them from looking for the two. Those who joined the attack were pardoned since someone lost the video evidence, making it impossible to prove their crimes. Lucas Proust, also known as Boro, was also wanted, but he fled after the attack. Where are you going to go? It's an island. Without the royal family's knowledge, he secretly visited Nadia Proust, who had been transferred to another hospital. Mathis Claude returned to his normal life while waiting for the return of his butler, who was arrested for illegal research. Casualties were great in Coen, and the residents sought the death penalty for Spacey and the others responsible. But their requests were refused by Cyan Brophies, who stated that they were not involved in the deaths that occurred. He single-handedly ended the blaming. Cyan really is a god. The fact that the talented scientist, Cyan Brophies, had actually lied about scientific evidence was kept secret, with only a few in Arpachel knowing the importance of why he bent the truth. The royal family's like, they're all evil, and Cyan's like, it's a lie, and they're like, we listen to Cyan, fuck the royal family. Cyan really does run this shit. I was offering a prayer like he did to the guest from beyond the ocean and his descendants sleeping in the family grave. The Lycoris Noirs were also bowing in unison with the movement of the wind. It was as if they were giving their thanks to the family who raised them to full bloom. Okay, so he didn't die. Alright. What happened then? A single teardrop fell from my eye onto the flower's black petal. I'm such a crybaby. Did Eve die? Because that's not a happy end. I closed my eyes to hold back my tears. I should get going. I picked up the basket sitting next to me and quietly got up from the ground. Can't guarantee that I'll be happy, but I'll do my best and struggle with all my might so that I can say one day that I was glad I decided to live. I am death, after all. I won't lose to anyone as easily as before. So please watch over me from the heavens, Adolphe. Oh, okay, we're crying over Adolphe. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, wait a minute. This is not a happy ending. Okay, okay. I forgot for a second. Poor Adolphe. He does get the short end of the stick in all the routes, huh? But I looked to make sure no one was around. Welcome back, Spacey. Well, thank God he's not dead. Jesus. That would not have been a happy ending. They're not really all that happy, but they're happier than the rest of the game, so. They're happy for what this game is. Greeting me when I returned was Eve, sitting on the makeshift bed in his usual clothes. Next to him was a fishbowl with Puffy splashing water as if to greet my return. Well, thank God the fish survived too. Get back in bed, Eve! You have to rest! Oh, he's not wearing his mask. I hurriedly rushed to his side. Don't worry. I feel pretty good today. Eve reached out and held my hand, then wrapped his fingers around mine to share his gentle warmth. Anyway, were you able to say hi to Adolphe? Yes, and I let everyone know our situation. But are you sure it's fine? I know I requested it, but was it really okay to have Adolphe buried in the Noir's family grave?
Of course. Adolphe's like my older brother, which means he's family to me. Hugo's family also respected the will he left, so his coffin should be arriving soon.
And Hugo's dead. Okay, that sucks. I couldn't remember if it was both of them out there, but that would make sense, Eve watching both of them die. Listen, it's been a long time since we played these routes. I see, which means we can go and see them whenever we want.
Yeah, I'll make sure I can walk again and go with you next time. Adolphe may not mind, but if I don't show my face every so often, poor Hugo will be so lonely. And then again, they might not be feeling as lonely as we think, since you and I will be with them someday soon.
You're right. I chuckled, remembering him pouting before. Adolphe and Hugo, many others dear to us, were also mourned since that day a month ago. Immediately after we were engulfed in flames, rain poured down like never before. With the flames doused, we both somehow managed to survive. Convenient. As for my trait that went out of control, Eve gave me Cyan's medicine from his own mouth, which temporarily suppressed my power. Still, his chromosomes were already tainted, so stopping my power didn't reverse the effects. Eve was seriously on the brink of death back then, but according to Cyan, Eve possessed something like antibodies. That's because he eats the flowers, right? Also, part of Drifter, so. Is that why there are so many Lycoris Noirs just growing around your house?
Oh yeah, I actually planted those myself. The curse doesn't spread to the bulbs, so I divided them so I could grow plenty. Lycorises are surprisingly versatile. The curse keeps animals and insects from ravaging gardens. And the bulbs are pretty tasty, so...
Huh? You've eaten them? He's still weirder than Onko, who was eating the flowers, okay? Because Eve had eaten, like, ugh, because Eve had eaten a number of Lycoris Noir's bulbs in the past, good lord. Like, because Eve's eaten them before, no, had eaten, good read, his body gained resistance to the toxins, which showed the tainting of his chromosomes in comparison to others. Wow. I then took his blood when he gave me the medicine by mouth. Ongo, the Watchman of Death, appeared later and administered another medicine to me that was red in color. She's just like a vampire, like everybody's blood. It's weird. Finally, my powers subsided. I could vividly remember Cyan's disgusted face after learning that Eve's eating habits actually proved useful in controlling my power. Eve's powers proved useful. But just because my power was under control didn't mean I could go back to my normal life. We were on the run from the people of Coen and the royal families, so Uncle introduced us to this hideout that we made into our home. Mother, Mathis, and the others had been secretly bringing us food and basic necessities for us to live. Despite their kindness, I could no longer go near them like before. Yes, the antibodies and medicines that were administered were simply suppressing my abilities from going wild. My powers as death hadn't disappeared from me, which meant that I would probably die once I reached 23 years of age. As for Eve, most of his chromosomes had been eroded and tainted by the toxin, so
Maybe I can last for half a year, I think.
in fact, he'd been spending most of the day on the makeshift bed ever since, unable to move like before. Okay, so this is like, everybody, there's like moments where you get like happy, and this is tragic. He would probably stop breathing the moment he pushed himself beyond his current capacity. Still, neither Eve nor I were saddened by our situation. I am.
I need to find the next guardian for the Lycorises before I die. I wonder if there's anyone out there willing to take my role. If I die, you're gonna follow me, right?
He's so serious about this. If I die, you're going too, right? Of course, that's the promise we made when I accepted your marriage proposal. If you dare to tell me now that you want me to live after you die, not only will I be angry, but I'll hate you too.
Guess that's out of the question then. Having you hate me would be the worst thing that could happen.
I thought you were going to live even through despair.
That's a different kind of despair.
Eve squinted his eyes a bit, and before I could react, get a beautiful CG? Yes, we do. Oh, it's lovely. Our little labradoodle looks so beautiful in this, despite the fact that it's just half his face, but it looks so beautiful. He gently tugged my arm toward him and onto the bed. He gently brought me into his lap and gave me a kiss. It was warm and sweet. His pulse and warmth had a powerful brilliance, despite the fact that he didn't have much time left to live. We remained like that for a few seconds. We kissed and embraced each other as if we were the only two people in the world.
I can endure the despair because you're with me. Without you, my heart would have broken long ago. I'd have died to escape from life.
I would have done the same. But you brought me back to life, even knowing that I was broken. I was close enough to feel his breath. He was no longer hiding the part of his skin where the lycrases dwelled. He showed himself to me exactly as he was. I'm so glad I didn't die back then, but I'm so despicable to think that. Still, I can't lie to myself about the happiness I feel by being with you.
Yeah, and we're gonna live with those conflicting feelings until the end of our lives.
Eve and I laughed. We showed our smiles to each other despite knowing that we were using the hopes and lives of others to build our own happiness.
The sense of killing those precious to us, of denying those we could have saved. The day may come when we grow afraid of the shadows who have passed and beg for their forgiveness. There may even be times we won't be able to stop our tears.
Those things were what connected me and Eve together.
Let's live beside each other and share all of it together.
Yeah, even in the midst of despair, I'll always stay by your side. I would live on, more hideous than death. No matter how hated I was, no matter how many times I blamed myself, I wouldn't lose to any dark emotions that awaited me. I would live for as long as possible, smiling with him, and die when the time came to repent for my selfishness. I wouldn't worry anymore, like he told me. Eve, I moved closer to his chest, arm, and cheek, pushed my warmth against him to show that I wanted him to touch me even more. Girl! Eve responded and embraced me closer, harder. Girl. He then gently touched the lycrace pin in my hair with his burned and scarred fingertips. You better be prepared now that a scary girl like me captured you. I won't let your soul escape, even after you die or go to Hades.
Well, I should say the same to you. It doesn't matter if I'm facing God or death. The death, misfortune, and despair you give birth to is mine and mine alone.
Everyone's a little fucked up in this game. I was the kind, cruel bride of my dear guardian. I swore my undying love for him in the flower field where many lives were laid to rest.
My life belongs to you forever, Spacey.
How beautiful. We would never part, even when the end came. The black lycrace flowers blooming throughout the land blessed us. Their petals rose into the beautiful blue sky. There was one red one. Oh, no, okay, now we're gone. Never mind. You didn't get to see that. You could rewind. But it's like there's just one red flower in the field of black. Ooh. And then that's it. You know, I gotta be honest. I I feel like Eve and Lucas kind of got the short end of the stick. Lucas obviously because he died. So what the fuck? And then Eve is like, it's like, oh, will you marry me in the flower? You're in it. Okay, fine. Everyone's, and we're here in the cave and whatever, and done. And it's like, but what? Excuse me? Like, the shortest just slap that shit together. And considering the fact that you have to do the Oncofe, like, salvation end first, which is you'd think that one seems like okay, that's kind of like the canon ending because Adolphe is the reason that all of it, you know what I mean? Like this game exists because he went back in time and whatever. But you have to do that first to unlock the rest of them. So then you're like, okay, so Eve should be, you'd think it would go like his would be more like okay, I was expecting more from it, I guess. Like okay, so even though logically you would think Uncofe is the canon ending because that's everything all tied up in a bow, right? You got all the answers. since you have to do that first, and then Eve's is the last one you can do, and he was he was a locked route where the other three weren't. You know what I mean? Then you're like, okay, maybe they're trying to make it like he's canon, because they even say, and it wasn't it in the Anko on Adolphe kind of ending, like, oh, I thought you were gonna end up with Eve, or I thought we were gonna end up together. Where it's like, okay, maybe that's where the game's gonna go, and Eve's gonna get this big grand kind of ending where you're like, oh, maybe they wanted him to be more canon. Interesting. Where like you could almost see the duality of like, well, which one's the because you know some games have a canon love interest, and you're like, that's what they think is canon, but like you could love whoever. It kind of almost seemed like this was like dueling canons. You know what I mean? Like, oh, but no, the way they short stacked Eve's route, you're like, okay, I guess not. I'm not sure if they hated him more than fucking Lucas. Jesus, I think the way they played him, they didn't. Okay, we've seen all those. I'm surprised that his ending was this brutally short, you know? But I'll give them a little bit of extra credit just for her being like, you're so stupid, and just calling him stupid. Because this is stupid. But it's so funny. Like, this is the worst place for a proposal, you moron. But, oh, you know, whatever. I do feel slightly disappointed in his run. I feel like I'm mad now that this is the end of it. You're like, this is the last route we played, really? Science was way better. And not just because I love Cyan. You know what I mean? Science was just better. Okay? And I really wanted to play it so that the Oncalfe ending was the last one we did, but there was no way to do that. And now I'm just kind of mad knowing what I know. I would have rather done... I thought they were just going to do better with this one. You know what I mean? Knowing that it's probably the last end you're going to play if you do them in the order. And, you know, that they almost force you into. Like, you could do Mathis, Lucas, and Cyan in any order. But you can't do Eve until you do those other three. So it makes sense if when you go through the Salvation Ends, you're going to do the other three, and then this is the last one you're going to do. So this is the last route you're probably going to play in the game. The last ending, and this is it. It's like half-assed. You're like, oh, okay, we're just gonna, and there's not a lot. It just, if all of the other endings kind of like wrapped up and was like a 30-minute thing where they're like quick like this, you would have been like, okay, fine. But the other ones took an hour to play. And there was so much going into it, so much more, and then this is like, it feels very lackluster. So I'm kind of mad, and I wish we had played Cyan's ending last instead of this one, but it is what it is, whatever. Anyway, we will be back tomorrow for the voice acting, and I'll turn it on. We'll try to find some scenes. I think I'll just find a little scene with them all together, like the one where we invade Adolphe's house and everyone's getting drunk and stuff, because that seems like it might be fun. And then we'll pop around to other scenes and stuff like that, and we'll just spend like 30, 40 minutes, maybe an hour, whatever, poking around, listening to the voice acting and having some fun. Maybe we'll load up some of the old saves. Maybe some of these end ones skip through and then get some of the romancy moments for the voice acting. Whatever, we'll see what we have time for. But anyway, I will see you next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.